Good morning. We've got our hand today is pocket twos. I'm in mid position, and I'm just gonna stick with my standard mid position raise first in range. I get a caller villain 4. Villain 4 right now is playing 10% VPIP, 7% preflop raise, 2 3-bet. This is over 945 hands. This is a tight aggressive player. I know he's not going to be having a very wide range, and in fact, when we look at a lot of his stats or a lot of his stats, his call 2-bet preflop is actually pretty low. So from the cutoff, it's 2 out of 59, so 3%. His limp is 1 out of 12. So it's between a call, fold, and a 3-bet, and you can see his 3-bet by position 1 out of 59. So I think he's going to be calling with some speculative hands, and this may actually be too wide of range. So when you add in ace jack king queen, I just feel like it's going to be a little too wide. Maybe he doesn't have these. Maybe he doesn't have the suited aces. I think what we'll do is kind of restrict it. Maybe he also doesn't have these. Maybe it's more of these mid pairs is what he has to get down there. But he's definitely going to be playing tight. So we're going to say he has this wider range. It's just the two of us. So then the flop comes down king 6-4 with 2 hearts. I lead, and I think when I lead this board, I assume this board's going to hit me more than him. When we think about value versus draws, I think I am going down to basically betting these pairs. Whoops. Say king and diamond 6 and 4. There it is. So I think I'm betting these small pocket pairs. I'm betting these 2-card backdoor flush draws. The small pocket pairs, I'm betting try to get him to fold. His fold to c bet's pretty high, so I think this is going to be a case where we're going to probably be betting 100% of the time, just exploitatively, especially on a board like this. If he has one of these mid pocket pairs, he's going to be scared of that king. He'll probably fold. I think he would probably come along though with hearts. Maybe he'll come along with a pair. I don't know, but his fold c-bet when in positions 80%, 4 out of 5, out of position 6 out of 9. So he does tend to fold to c-bets. I think this is a player where we could get away with 100% c-bet. But what does GTO suggest? And that's what we're going to look at here. So he did call, and then on the turn was the 10 of hearts. I have to give him credit. Probably has a king. Hit a king or has flush draw. Now that hits, so I check and fold when he bets. So let's see what GTO suggests. So I've put it in, and again on the river I just have checks all the way through, make it quick. So versus a GTO opponent, it looks like we are going to be betting about 50% of the time. And I think I can immediately see that I made a mistake with my c-bet against a GTO player. That might change if villain does not play GTO. So we'll check that. So again, I guess against an unknown player, if I don't know how he plays, if he folds too much or what, we should be betting betting our kings, definitely top pair hands. Basically all of them. Or over pairs we're going to be betting. It looks like we're going to be betting most of our sets. The sets that we don't bet, 4s and 6s, and I wouldn't be surprised if those are check raises. So let's check that. He bets. Yep, and now we raise. So 4s and 6s are going to be in our check raising range. What else? What kind of draws are in our check raising range? Ace queen, ace jacks in our checking range, and I'm going to guess that those are also check raising. No, ace queen, ace jack, we are just calling mostly. but we are check raising with the lows, the ace 2, ace 3, ace 5. Okay, so flush and straight. All right, so yeah, that's pretty good. Now let's look at our bets. I should say gut shots also mostly betting with 7-8. Mostly betting with 7-8. We are mixing in mixed strategy with our backdoor flush draws. And let's see here. We are at queen jack, queen 10, backdoor straight, backdoor flush draws. Jack 9, 10 9, 10 8. Those are mixed strategies. I'm gonna guess a little. Those aren't. They block the middle range that villain might have. Some of those mid pairs. So, low pocket pairs we're gonna check. Mixed strategy with our mid pocket pairs. Jacks, queens, kings. We're leading. All right. So let's say we bet. What is villain gonna be calling? Villain, according to GTO, villain should be calling all of those pairs. And maybe he is playing. He should be calling with the sixes. He's raising with the sets with fours, but not with sixes. Top pair. He's raising with king queen, king jack of hearts, but he is calling with other ones. So raising with the king of hearts. Raising with the king of hearts. That's interesting play. Calling. All right, so that's what he's called. So he did call, and then we had, I believe, a 10. Yep, 10 of hearts. So now on the 10 of hearts, what do we do? So the twos were, you had a small percentage of the time we're betting them. And it looks like now we are continuing to bet them. Looks like betting them more and we're checking it. 3 is definitely betting, but with the 3 of hearts, with the 2 hearts, and I don't think I had it. I had diamonds and spades. So looks like we are continuing. If we bet, we are continuing with the flush. With the sets, we are betting when we have the king of hearts. We're betting with trip kings, but it looks like we are checking all of the rest. Okay. I wonder if that's a check fold or a check call. So check call with 4s and 6s, but we're check raising with 10s. That's interesting. Again, over pair we're betting. So 4s and 6s. I guess with 4s and 6s, our hands are strong. They're strong enough to where they have a lot of value, but we don't want to bet and get into a big pot, is what is going to be my guess. Kings, we don't mind it. 10s, we don't mind it, especially if we have the king of hearts. 10s, we're check raising. 2 pairs, we're mostly betting. No, 2 pair, we're mostly checking. So king 10, we are checking. The over pair, we're betting with the ace. And I think that's strange, because the ace isn't as strong as our set. I kind of would have thought we are betting for value with our sets more than our overpair. Overpair could be like a check call because we have some value with it, but that's actually kind of the reverse. We're going to be betting with trip kings, but then check raising with 10s, and then check callings with our 4s and any of our 6s that we also decided to check. And we're doing it with 2 pair too. So over pair we're betting, pocket pair below the top card. Looks like we are checking our queens, but betting our jacks and queens. So maybe what we're doing with jacks and queens, these are actually bluff hands. Not all. Yeah, maybe these are bluff hands. We're betting to try to get king to fold. Maybe he does fold because of the flush. So let's see what happens if we bet. What kind of hands is villain folding? Right now, it does not look like he is going to fold any kings that he has in his hands. He's raising sets, he's raising flushes, um, folding some of those top cards, but middle pairs he's calling, so ace 10's calling. So I'm probably playing this okay. I think I do miss some bets. So if I had a different hand, if I had any of these other hands, I would probably c-bet again, whether it's right or wrong. And then on the turn, I would probably have continued betting the flush, possibly even just check raise the flush. But I think I would possibly, now I would continue betting the flush. For the sets, I would have continued betting the sets. I wouldn't have considered check raising. So that's kind of interesting. Have a check raising range with my sets. With two pair, I probably would have bet as well, but it looks like it's going to be a check call, and the overpair is going to be where I start checking. So I think I would have checked the aces and hope to check down, or check call on the river. So I did check. He bets, and he did bet 75%. With the check, he's probably going to be betting a bit more of his hands. Yeah, definitely betting his flushes, betting his sets. Top pair is mostly checking. There, pocket pair below the top cards mostly checking. Weak pairs mostly checking. You got some ace high bluffs happening. These are like with the ace of hearts. Looks like maybe even a jack of hearts is just going to be checking behind. Oops, hold on. We checked and then he bet. Let's get that. So yeah, flushes, the sets, he's betting. Top pairs betting. Then pocket pair below the top card, he's checking. Ace highs, looks like he is betting all of the ace high hands. I'm sure that's for bluffs. I would probably do the same thing. No made hand, he's betting. So I would have probably done the same thing too. If I called the flop and he checks to me on the turn, I'm probably betting with most of my range, and I probably would be betting a lot more than my range. I think it's interesting. Weak pair, middle pair, pocket pair below the top card, and some of our top pair we are going to be checking. So like the king queens, non-hearts, looks like we are going to be checking. All right, so let's change up our hands. So let's say he is really a pretty tight player. And I don't know if he's going to have all of these. That gets us to 5.3%. Build tree. Run solver. All right, so we made his range even tighter. Twos is still a check. Fours become half bet, half raise. So less reliable to check raise is what I'm going to guess. Checks is for sixes. So sixes are probably going to be our check raise. Fives are going to be checks. So small pocket pairs we're still checking. So mistake there. And it's most of the same, I believe. So our flushes, our aces are mostly going to be betting. We've got ace jack, ace 10. I bet those are check calls like before. Weak pairs are mostly checks. Middle pairs are going to be some mixes. Sometimes bet, sometimes check. Most of our top pairs, or pocket pair below the top pairs, the queens and jacks are going to be bets. It looks like 10s are where we start to kind of mix things up. 10s, 9s, and 8s. And probably bet a little bit. No, I would say bet a little bit more if we had the heart, but it doesn't look to be the case. Top pair mostly bets. I think ace kings are going to be check. I bet those are check calls. That's when we have the king of hearts too. Ace king, king queen of hearts is kind of a mixed strategy. Over pairs, mixed strategy. Sets though, we're betting. So let's say we checked and he bets. Let's check that top pair again. Yeah, we're raising those hands now, the ace king. So we've got those top pair, top kicker, top pair, second kicker with flush draw in our check raising range. All of the other ace kings are in the check calling range. But like a lot of those, we were going to be betting anyways. So, all right, so that's kind of interesting. So let's say we bet and he calls and he's following GTO. He is going to be calling a lot of those. And then we have the 10 of hearts, and now what do we do? It still looks like we're going to be betting, but now on those mid pairs, if we bet before, we're going to be checking those. So kind of slowing down. We're checking 10s to help protect. We're checking jack 10s, but it looks like we are still firing out our flushes. Most of our trips, if we have the king of hearts, our aces, we're checking when we have the queen of hearts. So, all right, hopefully you enjoyed this. If you do, look tomorrow for another hand. It's interesting to go through here. Returning back to my hand, I think mistake here, not necessary. I mean, we could have folded it pre-flop, but I think the mistake here, if it was GTO, was that pocket 2 shouldn't have been bet. If we change it to exploitative poker, I do think he's probably 2s might become a bet. So let's see if we can edit this, and let's just say he is going to fold his top pair. Let's say he folds all of these. And middle pair. Yeah, he's folding ace highs. Yeah, let's say ace high. Let's really kind of say he is only calling if he has the king or the flush draw. I think that's probably very realistic. I don't even think a player like this is calling with a gut shot. So 8-7. I just don't think he's calling with the gut shot. Yeah, gut shot. All right, so let's try this again. Change exploitative poker. Yeah, now we're turning to 100%. So I guess against a GTO player, this is a check, but against a player that folds too much, it looks like we are making a bet. We bet, and then he calls, and now it looks like we are checking almost all of it once that comes. I think that agrees with my thinking, was that this villain's either going to be calling with the king or calling with the heart draw. I don't think he's calling with the underpair. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. All right, hopefully you enjoyed it. See you tomorrow.